So the big takeaways certainly is that there is no violation under Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. That is count one. And neither Mr. Gautam Adani nor Sagar Adani, his nephew, have been charged under this count one of the Department of Justice indictment. And the second point is the count 5, which essentially is obstruction of justice. The board members, the senior board members, management of Adani Group has not been charged under that. And after the filing of the Adani Group, Adani Greens at the Bombay Stock Exchange, there has been a surge in Adani Group stocks. Let's cut across to Harsh for a quick update on that. Harsh, what can you tell us?
Interesting times, of course, but the fact that there is no charge with regard to FCPA is obviously a big positive, and therefore you're seeing a reaction on a lot of Adani counters. Something like an Adani Energy is up nearly 5%, Adani Power up nearly 4%, the flagship Adani Enterprise and Adani Ports as well, Adani Enterprise up nearly 3%, and Adani Total, Adani Green, all of those stocks are seeing recovery in terms of what's happened last week as well. In fact, when we spoke with eminent lawyers, Sanjay Ashar of Crawford Bailey, he suggested that the fact that now this entire charge has moved from an FCPA, which is more criminal, to securities fraud, which is more civil, will mean that a far lower charge in itself applies. The second thing is what H.P. Ranina, who's of course honorable lawyer at the Supreme Court, he says that there's unlikely to be any penalties, at least for the moment. Charges actually have to be proven, and that will depend on what kind of evidence is available. And for now, no real evidence is presented, is what Mukul Rohatgi has said. And therefore, these charges need to be proven without reasonable doubt, and they ought to be fought in US courts. The other piece that Mr. Ranina interestingly spoke about is that, of course, there has been some impact on shareholders of Adani Group. But if these charges are proven to be false, and at least that's the direction in which things are moving, in that case, markets tend to recover and wealth tends to bounce back. That's something that he underlined very, very clearly on the NDTV network as well this morning.
All right, Harsh, thank you so much for joining us and giving us that quick update there. Let me bring in the guests at this hour. Anand Ahuja is an attorney of law. We also have Vneet joining us. He is the head of research at Ventura Security. Vneet, the clarification which has come in from Adani Greens perhaps puts the issue to rest. Of course, it will be playing out in the political domain as in the parliament. But as far as what we are seeing at the stock exchange, there is that recovery which has happened after. Of course, first it happened on Monday, and again, we are seeing the similar surge.
Yeah, so basically, when there are no charges leveled against the persons who are taking the bribe, whom have you bribed? The specifics are not there, and in the Indian court of law, this would have been more like an FIR than anything else. Moving back to the fundamentals of the company, I think apart from the sentimental damage, there's tremendous intrinsic value in these stocks, and these are some of the fastest growing infrastructure companies in the world. Okay. And I believe that, there is significant value out here. We have done our work. We've identified these stocks as being the creme de la creme to invest in. And the fact that they've lost almost 30% value over the last few days tells you that there is, significant appreciation to happen. And to my mind, whenever a negative event gets neutralized, the stock should bounce back to the levels where the stocks traded prior to the event being announced. But having said that, we should also keep in mind, be cognizant of the fact that the sentiment in the markets are quite negative, and we may not see that kind of a quick rally that happened, but more of a clawing rally that will need investors to convince investors, because we've seen these wolf-like events play out over the last few times, and investors have lost considerable wealth. So, it will be a gradual recovery that takes place.
All right. You've made an interesting observation there. The fact is that the fundamentals are solid of this company. And we have highlighted those aspects as well. So Anand Ahuja, coming on this, if there is no indictment per se under FCPA, which is the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, which is criminal in nature, and there is no bribe giver or bribe taker, the bribe amount has not been made here. There is no obstruction of justice. So largely it is about securities and bonds. That's what Mukul Rohatgi specified while going through those 45 pages of indictment. It's very clear that the company's management is in the clear. Now question is that it will be about civil case rather than a criminal case. Then what now?
So first of all, we have to understand Security and Exchange Commission's authority here. So it's totally wrong to assume that it is a civil case. Under the Security and Exchange Commission, the charges so far have been framed. There can be an imprisonment of up to 25 years. So it's totally wrong to make that kind of statement that criminal conviction is only available under Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. So we have to understand that. But coming back to the other elements of the case, which I personally believe is very weak case, I don't agree with some of the points raised by your other panelists. Like Mr. Jethmalani said that Rahul Gandhi should present the evidence. My question is, who is Rahul Gandhi? Is Rahul Gandhi has any authority to prosecute anybody in India? That's not the question. The question is, first of all, the evidence. If I'm not mistaken, one of your panelists said that evidence has not been presented. Evidence in these kind of cases is basically presented first to the grand jury. Grand jury, after examining those evidences, charges. If the evidences are weak, the grand jury will, to begin with, not even charge. Secondly, we have to understand indictment does not mean conviction. The way Rahul Gandhi and other politicians in India are making a lot of noise, Adani should be arrested, Adani should be arrested. They should have a basic clearance in their mind that it's indictment. It's not a conviction. You get convicted only after a trial. Secondly, even after trial also, there is no guarantee that you will be convicted. And I give you an example of Anderson in Bhopal tragedy case. He was convicted, but he was never arrested. Uh, Mr. Kohli made mentioned some of the scandals of Congress government. He made a very good point, but I think he forgot to mention two major scandals during Congress party's time, that is Augusta
All right.
Westland chopper
Yes.
case and Beaufort case. But coming back to this particular case, there are a lot of loopholes in this case. The question is, in the United States, we go as per the discovery and deposition. Question is, can prosecutors in United States go and conduct discovery in India? Can prosecutors in United States go and conduct deposition in India? Or these politicians who have taken bribe, or these government officials, they have taken bribe, are they subject
All
to
right.
subpoena of
Let me
United
go
States
back to
court?
Vneet, and we also have Dr. Adesh Agarwal joining us on this broadcast. Vneet, coming to you, because now it is about securities and bonds, not as much as a criminal indictment. That has become clear. The charge is against the officials of Azure and CDPQ. These are the two companies which are listed in the US. The Adani Greens making its position known this morning at the stock exchange. You have said that there is a lot of buoyancy in these stocks and with regards to this company. But now when you see that this kind of clarification has come at the Bombay Stock Exchange, do you see this recovery which has happened is short term, or are you of the opinion that this is going to extend?
See, it will always remain an overhang on the stock because nothing has been proved as far. So this kind of thing will remain an overhang on the stock, and we need to see what will be the action of the rating agencies on these things. So they were very quick to downgrade Adani stocks as of yesterday. We need to see how they will react now. And since they take their time to review decisions, there will be some time before the their renewals come, and I don't think they will review their decisions before the judgment is out. So what it is going to do is it's going to impact Adani in a way that they will not be able to raise foreign capital at the rates that they would like, and so they would have to resort to Indian lending institutions to raise money. This could possibly raise the cost of debt for them. Apart from this, they typically try to raise long-term debt matching their liabilities with the life of the asset, so there is no asset liability mismatch. So here what will happen, they will have to raise money for a shorter period of time, that is maybe 5 to 7 years, and then they will have to roll it further. So there will be a little bit of interest rate implication if the interest rates were to move adversely.
Hmm. All right, let me bring in Dr. Adesh Agarwal, who is the former president of Supreme Court Bar Association. Dr. Agarwal, you heard from two legal eagles of India, Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani and former Attorney General Mukul Rohatgi. What are your thoughts vis-a-vis this case now?
I fully agree with their observation. As a matter of fact, there is a big conspiracy to destabilize India's economy, because Mr. Adani has big stake. He has so much investment in India, and so much industries are moving. And not only he is investing in India, in foreign countries, he has announced the name of India, and it is become jealous of some political parties as well as foreign agencies who want to destabilize India. Because under Modi government, they could not defeat at border, they could not create internal problems, and Indian economy is growing. So to stop this, such type of allegations are made. Actually, there is no allegation in this count number 1 and 5, conspiracy to violate FCPA or conspiracy to obstruct justice, Mr. Gautam Adani, Sagar Adani, and Vneet Jaain. And there is no need at this moment to investigate in India, because US agencies have not written to Indian government to investigate till they are making, and they know their responsibility. Till those allegations are proved, they are not going to Indian government or Indian agencies, because till the matter is proved, these are only allegations and not, as I mentioned, count number 1 and 5 is not these three important personalities of this group. So there is, Indian government can't investigate. If somebody is really interested that they have really violated, then they have a right to move to court, not be a, where if political leaders like the leader of opposition, he can move to the criminal court for initiating, or high court for initiating action against Mr. Adani Group. When there is no force in this, that's why they are not filing any case in the court.
All right, Dr. Adesh, I get your point. So thank you so much for joining us, Vneet. Thank you for sharing the investor perspective there, because the investor sentiment becomes crucial. We have seen that recovery which has happened of the Adani portfolio, and the surge in the stock exchange also after the results of the assembly. Maharashtra elections become important because Maharashtra as a state has the highest contribution to GST, to the centre's kitty. And of course, Maharashtra is the financial heart of India. Mumbai is the financial capital of India. And that is the reason why the investor sentiment is being reflected now in stock markets as well.